Okay, I went over my keyframes and I fixed a few things. I also wanted to show you guys this other method for copying the frames from the reference image. And that is to, instead of making a separate composition for that reference, just bring it on top of your legs composition, lower the opacity like you can see here, flip it the other way so it matches the direction that your character is running to. And I just left the last frame to show you guys how this works. Just scale it up to the point where it's the same size of your character. Just remember that our character is a bit taller than this figure, so just try to match the hip size. And then you can just follow each of the keyframes, each of the frames like that. And I just left the last frame to show you how this works. And also match the floors. So I kept the ruler here. So then you would just go in position and change the X value to flip the other frame. Again, match the hips, don't mind the legs because our character is taller. And then all you have to do is to just copy the exact motion. So this way is a lot more simpler than the way we were doing. So you can either use this for your next project, or you could use it to check your frames, your keyframes, and make sure that everything is right. And then you would just copy the character's movement completely. And this is what I mean when I say our character is taller. So the foot of this character ends here, but we need to mind the knee. So don't mind the foot, just the knee. Copy the foot, the ankle of the character, but don't put it in the exact position because our character is taller. Okay. The other foot, bring it down. Rotate the ankle. All right. And once you're done, and if you see that you are constantly clicking on this, you could just lock it in place so you don't move it. Gonna turn off the visibility, hit N on my keyboard and have a look at it. Let's first hit F9 on all of these, go to the speed graph, select all of these points, convert them to auto bezier so we get these circles. Now let's have a look at our running character. So this is how the character is running. The end does stretch, but we will have to loop it back to the original position. Okay, so in the end, let me have a look again. So at some point, his foot does stretch. I think it's over here. Although he's taking a leap, so I don't think it's that weird. But to loop this, we would have to go to the original position with the other foot. So turn this one, the reference photo back on, hit P, go back to the original image. Just make sure that you are putting the right foot in the picture. So in the beginning, we started with the left foot. Now we're going to start with the right foot because he switched his leg throughout his running. There's the first frame, match the hips again. So when I go back in here, we did kind of have the same thing. So our animation is good to go. Okay, now let's hold down Alt. Hold on, let's have another look. It does look a bit different. You can see that this foot looks like this. The first frame looks like that. So I would just have to bring this guy a bit higher and this one a bit higher too. So I just need to bring the 2 foots higher. Okay, so hip is okay. The left foot is where we have a problem. Select the last keyframe. Let's zoom in. And we want to just bring this higher. Go to the first keyframe and see. a little lower. Try your best to copy it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but making it look the same is going to work out better. So that's for the left leg. Let's go for the right leg. So right leg, currently we have it set here, but it needs to be here. Okay. So that's that. I'm going to check for the floors as well. So I feel like we kind of mistook the reference floor for the floor that we have. So that's not good. Let's select each of these keyframes and just make them auto bezier like all of the other keyframes. Just gonna go over each of these keyframes. Use any of these to see whether you followed the floor. See, this guy's a little bit too down. So let's go on that foot layer, get the position, select that, and just simply bring it. Or you could use the Y controller here to just bring it up without changing the X. Okay, let's go to the next keyframe. Yeah, we have the same problem for all of them. Okay, there's our character running. It looks good. Once we get rid of the controllers, you won't really see this look. So if we go in our character thing, let's turn off the reference photo. If we go in our character, let's hit N here. We're not getting those controller things, and now our character is just running without the controllers, and you can see it's looping too. So let's actually loop everything. We can delete the reference photo, alt click on the keyframes, the stopwatches, and just loop them out. Alright, now we have a looping thing. You can go ahead and just go in the character by free pick. Let's first hide all of these, hit M to close them. And now we have, let's actually expand the work. We now have a looping running animation, and now all we have to do is to connect the upper body. Alright, so the upper body is really simple. Go to the first frame and first just select everything except the leg composition and move it to a relative spot. Let's hit R and just rotate, because we did rotate his foot. Let's actually not do it for all. Connect the forearm to the bicep, bicep to the body, and head to the body too. Just rotate the body, not the rest. Okay, and just place it like that. Okay. Let's hit M. Now let's go in the legs composition and only take out all of these extra space with the region of interest. We only need, see where the leg of, yeah, we can see the outline of everything. Just get that area. All right, let's crop the composition so we don't have all those extra space. Go back here. We need to reposition the foot, the legs. Let's unparent these. A little bit of a positioning work to do. And also let's get the anchor point for the leg up here. Select the body, and everything is connected to the body, so just bring it up like that. Go in the first keyframe actually, and just put him where he needs to be. So for the body, I'm going to bring it a little lower. We're going to just copy the movements of this character. So let's zoom in. We only had about 1 second of keyframes, so let me go here. Yeah, we had exactly almost 1 second of keyframes. So we know that we just need to work until here. Hit P on body. And we're simply just going to move it up and down, nothing too fancy. Go in the beginning first, make a keyframe. See the next position. This when he's down, hold down Control and press right arrow key until he's at the lowest. Make another keyframe. We want him to go low. So he's just going to follow the leg. Okay, this is the highest point. Let's lower the opacity for the body so we can see the hip. Move it back up. Remember that we covered up the little pockets in the beginning, so just keep that consistent throughout the animation. Again, he's coming down, then he comes up here, so this is the lowest part. Just bring it down to cover up the little lines. Control right arrow key or command right arrow key to move it frame by frame to see where is the highest point. Again, it's here. This is the highest point. Bring it up. Okay. Again, control right arrow key. And that's the final spot. Just copy this keyframe and paste it there. All right. It was actually like a second. It was here, because even in the legs composition, it's not exactly 1 second. So just do that again. We're going to hit F9 on these and make these auto bezier. Select these, hit that. Looks like this. Go back here and now let's work with the rotation because he can't just be frozen like this. So let's hit U on, turn on the stopwatch for rotation, then hit U. And we're going to hit this to go to the next keyframe. And you can see that his hip rotated backwards. So this needs to rotate backward too. This way. You have to change the position as well. Select that. Change the X value. Okay. Next keyframe. He's again leaning forward. Bring him a little forward. Change the X position. Next keyframe. He is leaning forward again. Bring him a little down. And then select the position keyframe. Move it a bit to the side. Let's turn off the arms for a second. Have a look. So in the beginning, this is how he looked. Okay. Then we have to move them up a little bit to the side. So select each of the keyframes and just move them a bit to the side. Next one. This one, I think we need to rotate it a bit more. So go under rotation keyframe and rotate him forward. Then readjust the keyframe. Next one, we have the same issue. So just go over each of your keyframes and make sure that the character looks normal and he isn't looking strange. So I'm just going to do that. So for the last keyframes, you can actually copy the first one. Control C, Control V, Command C, Command V. So now he's just gonna move like that, and then he stops because we didn't loop this. So Alt click on each of these and add a looping property. Unless you want him to do something else after taking a few steps, then you would just have to continue your cycle with other animations. But that's not what we're doing. So let's just loop them and bring back the opacity. The arms as well. We need to move the arms too. So now our character is running. He's looking a little funny because his head and his arms are still. And we're going to do the arms and the neck in the next lesson. I'll see you guys there.